Our first step is going to be acquire 2 lamps from the flea market or the store if you'd like. I got these lamps, I got 2 for $5, so I had another one I already took apart. We only want the lamps for the actual components because they're quite expensive in the store. So if you buy a cheap old lamp, you can actually get the socket for the light bulb, the cord, and the rod that's inside here for our lamp. When you take your lamp apart, you should be left with this rod. It has a little bit of thread, a washer, a nut on the end, this little fancy piece here that I am going to keep, as well as the whole socket assembly that also threads on the top. So these are the parts that we're going to keep. You can keep the cord as well if you like, or you can get a new one. I'm going to use a new one in my case, just to upgrade it to the thicker gauge versus the thin stuff from back in the day. Next, we're going to create our base. I'm using a 2x6 that I have here. I'm going to cut a 6-inch piece out of this, and then I'm going to drill a hole right in the center that this rod is actually going to sit in and get clamped inside. Okay, so I have my piece nicely cut here. Okay, it actually ends up being 5.5 inches by 6 inches. Okay, and I drilled a hole right through the center. That's where my center post is going to sit. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a bigger hole on the back side of this block, so when we put this rod in, it won't stick out past the base and it will be kind of hidden inside. Okay, so I'm just going to use a drill bit that's going to cut my hole out here, 35 mil. So I'm going to drill that hole out first so I can put my rod in. Okay, so as you see here, I have my hole nicely drilled out, and now I can actually try my piece in here. Okay, so making sure this does not stick out past the bottom, so it works, it's not too long. Now I'm going to put my flat washer and the nut on the opposite end. Okay, once I get this piece on and everything looks like it's going to fit, okay, this is only my dry run to make sure that everything is sitting all nice and flush. Okay, when I look at my center rod here, I'm just making sure that it is plumb and is nice and straight so the lamp won't look wonky. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole down on this side here that's going to come into our opening so we can actually put our new cable through all the way to our lamp. Now I'm going to drill the hole for my cable. Okay, so this is going to be my back side here. Okay, I'm going to go not too close to the edge but not too far into the lamp. Okay, and we're through. Okay, so as you see here, we can see our hole. So when we bring our cable in through here, we'll be able to run it up and into the post to power our light. So you could at this point stain your base, seal it with polyurethane, and then assemble your lamp, and then you're good to go. You can also go with the option that I did. I took apart one of these old school phone chargers that I haven't used in a long time for one of my old phones. Okay, it came with a USB charging port. Okay, so all the necessary pieces are here to actually plug it in directly into the outlet. So all we're gonna have to do is just solder a couple wires to our positive and our negative terminal on this charger, and then we're going to have to consider the space for this in our base. So I'm going to mark this out, and I'm going to use my drill bit to actually drill out this area, and then we're going to put a plate here so we can actually cut this hole nicely for our charging port so you can't see anything inside. So I'm going to mark this first. Doesn't have to be perfect because the hole is going to be way bigger than what we need. So I'm probably going to drill one here, probably four holes in this block. Okay, so once again, I'm going to give it a try, and that fits very well. Okay, as you can see, it's not going to stick out past the base. I'm going to use a piece of melamine countertop that you can purchase at your local hardware store. Okay, so what we have to do is we just have to trace this base shape onto our piece here. Okay, so you don't have to go perfectly fine, because all we're gonna do is we're just going to glue this down, and then we're gonna sand the unnecessary edges. Okay, so leave yourself a little bit of space on all the sides. Okay, it's not a big deal. Okay, once we have that in place, we're going to use an X-Acto knife to cut this out, because if you don't, there's a high chance of this actually cracking on you if you try to use scissors or anything like that. We're going to have to score this several times. Okay, I tried many other tools on this, and it always cracked in some way, shape, or form. So the X-Acto knife was the best way to cut this out. I'm going to dry fit it here. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a little bit of Gorilla Wood Glue to our piece and our block, and then we'll just clamp it down and we'll wait for it to dry. Now that it's been 24 hours and my glue has dried, I'm going to take my clamps off. Okay, and we're going to sand these edges